Legends Arceus is pretty weird for a Pokemon game. There are no gyms or Pokemon League to challenge, barely any trainers or routes, and just one town in the whole region. Not to mention the boss battles, which feel more like they belong in Dark Souls than Pokemon. And yet, this strange game has managed to outsell every traditional title and break series records in just its first week. Clearly, fans are excited about Game Freak switching up the formula for this now 25-year-old franchise. So what can Generation 9's Pokémon Scarlet and Violet learn from Pokémon Legends Arceus? What is up, everyone? It's the Munch, and today we're going to be discussing the features I think Game Freak should consider carrying into the new generation. Obviously, not every feature Legends switched up would work in the more traditional Pokemon titles, so if you guys are curious what I think is going to make it in, make sure to smash that like button, and let's get started with the gameplay. One of the things I most love about Pokemon Legends is how quickly you can get in and out of battles. There's no waiting around for that whole animation when you step into the grass and the music starts and the wild Pokemon pops up to do its little dance, and then you gotta wait for your own Pokemon to do the same thing while you're just sitting there spamming the A button. Legends wastes no time getting you right into the action and feels a lot more immersive, with battles taking place right where you encounter the Pokemon instead of a generic background that sort of resembles the area you're in. If you're lucky, that is. Other times you just get an empty void. Thankfully, it seems Scarlet and Violet have learned this from Legends, as we can see from these pre-release screenshots that battles will happen right where you initiate them. I love this change to battles and how snappy it can be, but it does make me wonder how it could affect wild Pokemon. Are random encounters in the grass a thing of the past? And if we're following these new mechanics set by Legends, could it mean we can catch Pokemon simply by tossing a ball without the need to battle at all? I'll admit it feels extremely satisfying walking up to a Bidoof and just smacking it on the head with a Pokeball, but I feel a lot of people, and especially younger players, found it a bit difficult juggling between tossing your Pokeball or own Pokemon. This new catching mechanic is what sets Pokemon Legends apart from the other main series games, and I don't think it would necessarily fit Scarlet and Violet since their gameplay won't revolve so heavily around just filling up the Pokedex. Plus, there's something almost addicting about watching the Pokeball shake 3 times before a catch that I really missed while playing Legends. So I'm gonna say yay to seamless battles, nay to just walking up and throwing your Pokeball. That answers the question of catching, but what about the grass itself? There are plenty of patches in the first trailer, but they look to me like they're just decorative and not the tall grass we're used to running through in past games. The main reason I think this may seem kind of silly to some of you, but bear with me, okay? In this scene, we spot a group of Flabébé gathered around the flowers of this grassy patch. And in this modern 3D era of Pokemon, I find it pretty hard to believe that any other creature could successfully hide in the grass when these tiny-ass Flabébé, literally the smallest Pokemon in existence, can clearly be seen out in the open. You're telling me there's a Zigzagoon somewhere in there? Like, no, I don't buy it. Of course, there could still be a hybrid of both random and overworld encounters like we had in Sword and Shield, but I would honestly prefer if random encounters in the grass were completely removed, because I've always found it really tedious running in and out of battles hoping for that 1% encounter. Others may find it more satisfying when you finally do run into that rare Pokemon in the traditional way, but personally I find it just as exciting seeing a rare Pokemon pop up in the overworld than scrambling to catch it before it disappears. So if it were up to me, random grass encounters should be extinct. Moving on from encounters, let's talk about the battles themselves. The biggest switch up Legends brought to this department are of course the strong and agile style version of moves. Another feature I think best kept exclusive to Legends, first because it helps set this new series apart, having the whole attack order based on speed, and second because I think it could use a little more time in the oven to improve the whole system, especially the animation that plays every single time you use one of these moves. It gets old pretty quick. Now, I think everyone can agree having no abilities in Legends was very weird, so I'm sure abilities will return. In fact, we saw Hisuian Zoroark in one of these screenshots earlier, so we might just get exclusive abilities for these new forms in Gen 9, because there were a lot of unique Pokemon in Hisui that definitely deserve them. Finally, there's EV training, which in Pokemon Legends takes the form of grit stones and are basically just rare candies for your stats. In my opinion, EV training has always added an unnecessary barrier of entry to competitive battling, but they've done a lot of work to simplify it over the years with the introduction of items like bottle caps. So I feel as long as they're not too easy to obtain, I think a modern version of grit stones would greatly help newer players get into competitive battling. Or they could always bring back super training from X and Y. I miss those little punching bags. But with that ease of access, there has to be some sort of balance, and when it comes to the topic of balance in Pokemon, the first thing on everyone's mind is, of course, the EXP share. I think it's pretty obvious the EXP all is here to stay, but that doesn't mean the game can't be fixed around it. For example, making trainer levels scale according to your own, or giving challenging opponents like gym leaders and rivals actual teams. And by actual teams, I mean like more than just 2 or 3 Pokemon. Why can't the late game gym leaders at least have a full team of 6 when obviously the trainer has them? It's only fair. Speaking of trainers lacking, that was obviously a problem in Pokemon Legends, with almost every trainer battle you do encounter being part of the story. Those few battles we did get were some of the most fun and challenging in the series, but there just weren't nearly enough of them because of the game taking place in the past and trainers not really being a thing yet. But also I think Game Freak just couldn't figure out how to put trainers in such an open world, since you could easily just walk around them. It'll be interesting to see how Scarlet and Violet tackle this issue, considering they're being labeled as open world games. We somehow made it this far in the video without mentioning these magic words, so let's finally dive into what this new direction could mean for Pokemon. Open world is something fans have fantasized about for a long time. It's a concept Game Freak has been somewhat subtly building up to since Gen 8, with the introduction of the Wild area, which was then slightly improved in the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra expansions, and eventually cemented in Pokemon Legends Arceus. But even Legends was never advertised as an open world game, and while the final product did have a variety of spacious areas, they each had to be loaded into separately from Jubilife Village. It wasn't like one big seamlessly open world. And just in the first trailer, we can see this will be vastly different in Generation 9, with these sweeping hills leading right into the big city, and a variety of other biomes which I assume will all be part of one big seamlessly connected world. And as long as it doesn't drastically affect performance, this could mean the peak of immersion for the series. The concept of an open world Pokemon game also brings a very important question to the table. Will players be able to challenge gyms in whatever order they want? It's another tall task to take on for sure, but I remember before Sword and Shield came out, speculating on this very same thing, and if we'd be able to at least choose the order in which we challenged the first 3 gyms. Obviously that didn't end up happening, but once again, my hopes are high with Scarlet and Violet simply because they're being described as open world. Now, I don't expect them to let players just rush to the Pokemon League with a level 5 Fuecoco, but at least being able to choose the order in which you challenge the first 3 gyms would be really interesting and make each playthrough feel more unique. As I mentioned earlier, the gym leaders' teams and levels could change based on how many badges you have, and maybe after you defeated those first 3, another huge chunk of the map opens up, once again letting you choose the order you want to take on gyms 4, 5, and 6. Recently, Pokemon games have fallen into the trend of holding players' hands more and more, so the odds of giving us this much freedom seems unlikely, but like I mentioned, this whole open world idea feel like building blocks they've been working at since the Wild area, and maybe Gen 9 won't be quite there just yet, but an orange can dream, right? Regardless of how much freedom we get right from the start of the game, eventually there will be a whole new expansive region to explore, and part of what made that exploring so much fun in Legends was the ability to instantly switch between running, surfing, and flying on our rideable Pokemon. This is another feature I feel they've slowly been building towards, first with the removal of HMs, and then introducing Poke Rides in Alola, which were a bit more limited but still really fun, like bashing boulders on Sharpedo especially, and I feel can be taken a step further in Gen 9 by letting you ride your own Pokemon party members. We basically had this feature in the Let's Go games, so I think it's about time we get him in a real Pokemon game. I love that in Legends, any Pokemon on your team could break rocks and hit trees, but imagine if they were also able to carry you on their backs like Sneasler, but without that weird basket. Or have your own water starter Pokemon ferry you across the lakes instead of some weird bike with pool floaties instead of wheels. During my playthrough of Legends, there were so many times I found myself just aimlessly wandering around on Wordier, taking in the sights, and this pleasurable feeling is something I really hope they keep around in Gen 9. It was also really cute being able to send out your whole team to play and interact with each other, and considering we had Pokemon camps in Sword and Shield, it would feel like a step back if they didn't include this feature in some capacity next generation. This might seem like a lot to ask from Scarlet and Violet, but with all the small improvements we've been getting each game, it really feels like Game Freak have been building towards this ultimate goal of an immersive, open Pokemon region. The last few games have had their ups and letdowns, and maybe this generation won't exactly be what we dream, but as I've been saying this whole video, it would be another step in that direction. I am of course worried again that they'll be able to get everything done in time, but we at least know that Game Freak likes to split employees into two teams, with one handling the main series while the other does the remakes, or in this case Pokemon Legends, we have to assume was being simultaneously developed with Scarlet and Violet. So it's not unreasonable to assume that a lot of these features will make it in some capacity into Gen 9. How much of it exactly, we'll have to wait and see, but I am personally really excited for these games. A new generation of Pokemon is always so fun, and we're gonna hit over 1,000 creatures with this one. That is insane. At this rate, they have no reason to stop. We might even see like a Gen 20 one day with over 2,000 creatures. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so that's where we'll end off this video. Smash that like button if you guys enjoyed, and let me know which features from Legends I might have missed that you want to see in Generation 9, and I will catch you in the next video.